Okay, good afternoon. I am calling the Planning Commission hearing to order for December 7th, 2017. And Ms. Gu, would you call the roll, please?
Here we go. Vice Chair Leslie Wiscombe,
Here.
Mike Jordan,
Present.
Sheila Lodge,
Here.
Deborah Schwartz,
Here.
Addison Thompson.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Great, thank you very much. Okay, we're going to move on to preliminary matters. Item number 2, Ms. DeBusk, 2A, request for continuances, withdrawals, postponements, or additions of ex-agenda items.
Yes, thank you. I did want to announce that the applicant for 1837 and a half El Camino de la Luz has requested a continuance of today's item to the February 1st, 2018 Planning Commission meeting.
Okay, and so you would like a motion from us on that item
That is
to
correct.
continue it to February 1st, 2018?
Correct.
Okay.
So moved. Second?
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And I will recuse myself. Okay, and moving on then to announcements and appeals. Do we have announcements and appeals, Ms. DeBusk?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would like to announce that the project at 1909 El Camino de la Luz, which was approved by the Planning Commission on November 16th, 2017, has been appealed to the City Council. We do not yet have a scheduled hearing date for that item.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, and now we're moving on to item 2C, which is we have some minutes and resolutions on our agenda to review, and we'll start with the October 26, 2017 minutes. Does anyone have any changes to those other than me? Everyone's okay with those. Okay, I would request a change, please, on page 6 of 7. It's a motion made by Wiscombe, me, and seconded by Commissioner Thompson. And I'd like the motion, excuse me. I'd like the motion to read that our detailed comments, commissioners' detailed comments on Title IX be forwarded to the City Council for their consideration. And delete sections 1 and 2 of that item, because those were comments and they should be in the body of the minutes. So those comments would have to be included. I believe Commissioner Higgins was the one that made number 1, and Commissioner Campanella talked about number 2. Okay, is that pretty clear, Ms. Gu? Okay. So, any other changes? Do we have a motion to accept these?
Move to accept as amended.
Second?
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? And you're abstaining?
Abstention due to absence that day?
I'll also be abstaining.
Okay. So now we're going to move on to the minutes from November 16th, 2017.
Madam Chair, I do have an addition I would like to make, which I did send to Ms. Gu this morning. Ms. Gu, did you receive that?
Which page?
I had it on my phone and I can't find it.
Do you know what page it's on?
Yes, I'm sorry, page 7, under my comments, the last one, number 4, I wanted to add to it the fact that I read the letter from the neighbor who said that the project was going to block light and air from her unit, and that the architect responded that would be changed. Because I think it's important that the architect, the AVR, the HLC know that that we were concerned about that.
Okay.
So, just say, she read a letter from a neighbor at 121 West De La Guerra regarding the blocking of light and air by the project. The architect said that he would make changes to correct the problem.
Okay. Are there any
Yes.
other? Yes. Commissioner Thompson?
On page 7, under my comments, item number 3, I think that should say further revision of the design is needed, particularly in mass and height. Those are the 2 points that I made regarding that. I didn't talk about bulk and scale.
Okay. Any other comments? Any other changes, amendments to these minutes? Okay, I'd entertain a motion.
Move to approve as amended.
Second?
Okay, any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and I will abstain since I wasn't present at the meeting. Okay, so we'll move on to resolution number 018-17, 1909, El Camino de la Luz.
Move to approve.
Second?
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and I am recusing myself from that item. Okay, and then resolution number 019-17, 601 Alameda, Padre Serra.
Move to approve.
Second?
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and I'll abstain from that. Good, okay, that takes care of that. We're moving on then to item number 3A. Oh, sorry, I'm sorry, public comment. Does anyone have any public comment on an item not on the agenda? Ah, okay. Usually if I don't see speaker slips, I don't. Thank you. Okay. Okay, Mr. Peugeot?
Yes, I'd like to speak about an item not on the agenda, but it will be on next week's agenda, the accessory dwelling unit ordinance. The AIA has organized a forum, a public forum, and we invite you to attend. It will be on the Holy Cross Church on Cliff Drive, 1740 Cliff Drive, next Wednesday at the 13th from 6:30 to 8 o'clock, or to 8:30. And will be members of the community and members of the AIA, and hopefully will be, you will attend, and members, city staff is also invited to attend. As you know, this is a major ordinance that had not seen a lot of workshops or public comment, and we would like to get as much of that on the record as possible. So here's a copy of the invitation. I believe this ad is in the Independent today. Thank you.
Great. Mr. Peugeot, would you just repeat the address and the date and the time, please?
And the day, because
It's next Wednesday, the 13th, 6:30 to 8:30, 1740 Cliff Drive, the Holy Cross Church. Okay?
Great.
Hope to see you there.
Thank you so much. Any other person wishing to speak on an item not on today's agenda? Okay, seeing none, I'm closing public comment, and we now will move on to item number 3A, which is 1298 Coast Village Road. Ms. Kennedy?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair.
I'm sorry, let me just read the item into the agenda. So I'm not used to I do it a little differently, so I'm going to go back and actually Okay, this is a new item. It's the application of Jeff Gorell, LMA Architects, architect for Olive Oil and Gas LP, 1298 Coast Village Road. The limited commercial and coastal overlay zones, local coastal program, land use designation commercial, and it's a discretionary application required for this project is a modification. Okay. Ms. Kennedy.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Like you said, the address is 1298 Coast Village Road, and the application is for a setback modification. Here is a slide of the project site. This was prior to the construction that has already begun, pointing out the northern property line because this is the area of the setback modification request. It's at the corner of Olive Mill Road here to the right and Coast Village Road. The discretionary application before you today is a modification to allow a new spa on the second floor patio to encroach into the required northern interior setback of this approved project. I'll give you a little background, a summary. This has been around for a long time. Back in 2008, the Planning Commission approved a project that consisted of below-grade parking on the first floor, 4,800 square feet of commercial space and some other parking spaces. And then on the second and third floors, a total of 8 residential units. The request was for some modifications, one for the 10% common open space to be above the ground floor, the second floor balcony to encroach into the front setback, and the first and second floor encroachments into the northern interior setback. There were 2 city council appeals. Council denied both appeals, but did have some conditions added to the project. The first one, they did not allow the interior setback modification on the second floor. They only approved it for the first floor, and that northerly property line. And then the second appeal was that they required a minimum reduction of the height of the building. And that also was along the back northern setback area. Later on in 2014, a substantial conformance determination request came before both the Planning Commission and the ABR. They were both in support of it, and that consisted of a reduction in the number of units from 8 to 6, a change in the floor plans from the approved townhouses to flats, and then a conversion to all the units being 3-bedroom. A few years later, when the project started construction, the applicant came back to the ABR requesting some revisions. One was an increase in height of 12 7/8 inches, a reduction of the units from 6 to 5, and then the associated floor plan and minor exterior changes associated with reducing the units. And the ABR approved all of these revisions except the height increase. A few months later, the applicant came back with a lower height increase request, came back with a new tower and also a new spa on the second level patio in the northwest corner. The ABR denied the height increase again and denied the tower, but they were in support of the spa if it were relocated away from the property line, so not encroaching any more than the existing second floor. This was appealed to council. So back in October of this year, council did grant approval of the height increase that was requested. And they were ready to grant approval of the new spa, but it was determined that because it required a modification, it was encroaching into the setback, that the Planning Commission was the original body that needed to make the determination. So their motion was that they would grant approval of it, but it would be subject to a modification approval by your Planning Commission. So that's why we're here today. I'll just go over the modification request itself. Here's a floor plan of the second floor. You can see up in the northwest corner. I point out the northern property line, and that's the area of the spa. You can zoom in a little bit more and see this line here is the existing approved setback for the second floor. So they would be encroaching this round area out. This roof is for the first floor. So it's the roof of the first floor below. So this would encroach out over the first floor roof. The setback for the second floor is about 17 feet 9 inches. It varies because of the angle of the property line. It varies from 17 feet 5 to a little bit more than that. I'll just show you again the spa location. Looking from Olive Mill Road to the project, it would be in this area. You can hardly see the building in the back here. It's hard to see up on the screen, but it would be set back quite a ways at this elevation. Looking from the west, from the CVS parking lot area in the back, it's closer to that property line, and it would be in this location at this existing approved patio. And here you can see the northern property line, and there's a row of vegetation trees right here that provide a boundary or barrier between the proposed spa area and the adjacent property. And here's the northern elevation. So looking from the adjacent property towards the project, the spa would be located right here. Our recommendation is to approve the modification, making the following findings, and these are listed in your staff report: that it's consistent with the purposes and intent of the zoning ordinance, and that it is necessary to secure an appropriate improvement on the lot. We've included in your report also that it is appropriate because the spa location is compatible with the architecture and neighborhood as determined by council. It would not encroach into the setback any further than the first floor. As I noted, it was encroaching partially over the first floor roof, and it would not negatively affect the property to the north due to the large hedge that would be maintained between the two properties, and it would also not affect the commercial parking lot to the west. That concludes my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Kennedy. Mr. Gorell, do you have a presentation to give also? Or are you just here for in case we have questions?
I only had 6 slides, but I could just be here for questions, if you're comfortable.
Whatever you'd like. Would you like to make a presentation? You're entitled to if you'd like.
Briefly, it'll take no
Sure.
more than 5 minutes.
Step on up.
Just since I went to the effort to put it together, I guess. Yeah. Jeff Gorell, LMA Architects. Okay, so Coast Village Road, this is the site plan. As Kathleen said I just want to show you the ground floor level here, and we're above this area, which is parking site. Kathleen's already shown you that. A brief overview of Coast Village Road elevation and the east elevation, which is Olive Mill. And Kathleen has already shown you where the spa is in the back way. You wouldn't see it. Why are we here? Modification request for the jacuzzi spa location. City Council was unanimous in supporting it. Let's see, let me get through here. The northerly elevation. Well, I'm just going to get to the meat of it. I'll speed up here and get to the. Oops, what's going on? This I wanted to show you. This is the plan of the spa in the corner here. And this is the second floor level. Here is the hedge, ficus hedge along here, and that's about 10 feet above what the floor level would be. This is a view from the CVS parking lot, which is adjacent here. Now, don't mind this, they're upside down, so I got the same orientation as you would be viewing it, and again, about 10 feet tall. Here you can see the spa is right here, and it's kind of built into this first floor roof. Projects out. This is the spa. This is the guardrail wall, which is 42 inches, so the spa itself would be about 1 foot 8 inches down below the wall. The summary, quickly, is just I would request your approval for the modification. Short presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gorell. Okay, is anyone here to speak public comment on this item? Okay, seeing no one, I'll close public comment and take it directly to the commission for questions and discussion. We'll start with Mr. Jordan.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So my questions are just for staff. The first elevation you had, I think, that showed the hedge and an adjacent building to the right on the other property, is that a garage structure?
That is a garage right on
Okay.
the other side, yes.
And then is the hedge part of the landscape plan?
Yes, it is. It's part of this project's landscape plan, and one of the conditions of approval for the original approval was that they maintain the landscaping
Okay,
per the plan, yes.
thank you. Thanks, Madam Chair.
Okay, anyone else have any questions or comments? Yes, Commissioner Lodge?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Gurrell, the line of the second floor has already had a modification. Is that correct? It's
No,
the setback for that is
the ground floor, the
the
first
ground
floor has a modification.
Okay, so
yeah.
this floor is within, where the spa is going to go, is within the required setback? or-
That's correct. The
Okay.
building is, yeah.
Okay, I'm just curious as to why you decided to design it this way. It seems to me there's other, I understand that we're kind of coming second instead of first, and the city council has already said they like it. But I'm curious as to why you did it this way when there seems to be room in that area, deck area, for a spa, without the projection.
Well, the decks are quite small. I didn't bring the slide that I showed the city council. The ABR had recommended, why don't you move it into the deck itself? And so that exhibit that I showed, as I say, is a small deck. If you move the spa into the deck, you got no room for anything but the spa.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Ms. Kennedy, I want to clarify something that Commissioner Lodge just asked. So the first floor roof line got a mod, right, to encroach in this setback, right?
Originally, Planning Commission approved a mod for both the first and second floor, but then when it was appealed to council, council only allowed the first floor and the second floor.
Right, but the spa is actually encroaching into that. It actually is part of that modification for the first floor roof line. So
Yeah.
it is.
Yes,
It
that's
is
true.
encroaching, and I think you asked the question, and I'm not sure. Yeah. It
Well, the second floor meets the setback.
meets the
correct-
setback,
currently.
but the spa will not meet
This-
the setback, which is why we're here.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's right.
Okay.
Yes.
That's the way you understood it. Okay, I wasn't sure from that. Commissioner Schwartz?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a couple questions. Ms. Kennedy, am I correct in understanding something I thought I heard at our site visit, which is that either from us or perhaps Mr. Gurrell, the neighbor to the north on, I was going to say north on Olive Mill, is satisfied with the encroachment or doesn't have concerns regarding the encroachment? Is that correct? I think there was some communication.
That is correct.
Yes. At the-
And I didn't know if we had any public comment from them, or this is just a verbal communication that you had, Mr. Gurrell, or Ms.
At
Kennedy?
the council hearing, appeal hearing, the neighbors spoke in support of the.
Okay, so that's on the record
modification.
then in terms of the satisfaction or the acceptance that the neighbor has regarding this. Okay. I think my only other question is maybe to Ms. Kennedy. Ms. Kennedy, just so I'm clear, so the decision that the council made is sort of supersedes any concerns that the ABR had from their August hearing, is that correct? It's kind of satisfied or superseded the concerns regarding the increase in height in the tower. Am I understanding that
Yes,
correctly?
correct. Yes.
Okay. Very good. I think those are my two questions. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Commissioner Schwartz. Anyone else? Commissioner Jordan? I have no questions.
I'll move to approve modification, making the findings in staff report.
Second.
I don't think your mic is on.
The other one's on. So I'll move approval of the modification, making the findings in the staff report.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Jordan, a second by Commissioner Thompson. Any further discussion? I'd just like to add, I think that the fact that the hedge is on the property and is going to be properly maintained I think that goes a long way towards the privacy. I also, when I visited the site, you, Mr. Gorell, you had said it's basically a two-person spa. This is not a big deal, so it's not going to be party central.
Not a big party area, no.
Okay, so those are my only comments. Okay, anyone else? Okay, we have did you have something? No. We have a motion and we have a second, and all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that passes unanimously. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Okay, great. We are now moving on to item 4A on our administrative agenda, committee and liaison reports. Staff hearing officer liaison report.
So, meeting yesterday, but I haven't had opportunity to watch it. It's definitely on my list, as there were only 2 items, but it actually took an hour and a half, which is odd for the staff hearing officer. So I'll report back on that next week.
Great, thank you. Okay, then we'll move on to item number A2, which is other committee and liaison reports. Commissioner Schwartz?
Thank you. Tuesday of this week, I attended the Council Sustainability Committee meeting, and Cameron Benson made a very detailed and informative presentation to us on a series of project designs and proposals for the bird refuge. As everybody knows, there are continuing environmental challenges there on many fronts, and so just in brief, because you can also follow this as it goes to the full council, there's a hybrid project that's being proposed that would accomplish decreasing the odor events, improving the water quality along with the bird and aquatic habitat, maintaining and improving the flood protection, and it would also be probably more cost effective than the deluxe model, shall we say, of a project that was going to have a price tag of about $7 million that would be very difficult to accomplish. So it will include a number of improvements. I won't get into the design details only because, again, this will go to council. But not only is the design challenging and the engineering challenging to improve all of this, but as Mr. Benson pointed out, there are 7 regulatory agencies, all that have differing jurisdiction, and in some cases overlapping jurisdiction in permitting for changes to the bird refuge, and especially as it connects with East Beach. So it's much more complicated than just maybe meets the eye, but I think we'll be interested in following this along to council. And it was a unanimous agreement among council members Rouse, Mayor-elect Murillo, and Mayor Schneider. So it will be going to full council, I'm sure, in short order. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Commissioner Thompson?
Last week, I participated in a small committee that interviewed 3 contractors to do a sea level adaptation plan for the city as part of our local coastal plan update. So as a result of those interviews last week, a decision should be made to down select to an outside consultant this week or next week to start working at the first of the year on the sea level rise adaptation planning, and including supporting the outreach program that's a separate consultant that's already on board.
Great, thank you. Anyone else? Okay, seeing that we have nothing else, we are adjourned. Thank you all very much. Yes, next meeting will be next Thursday, December 14th, 2017 at 1 o'clock right here. Thank you.